Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Litecoin Underground podcast. Continuing on from yesterday's episode, this was the rest of that Spaces. Again, kind of changed some subjects, talked a little more about kind of how do we create demand, how do we create adoption. You know, one of the things I think that always is kind of silly to me is when people are kind of begging merchants, oh, you need to add, you know, a lot of people add Lightning support or add Litecoin or add Dogecoin or whatever it is. It's like, you know, you got to make it meaningful to that vendor, that merchant. You can't just make people offer the receipt of it and expect that to somehow change the world, right? You've got to really get the message out about why these things are important, why the coins need to be used, and for your average person, what is it that's meaningful to them? I don't have all the answers, you know, and I think that's a puzzle we've all kind of worked on over the past couple of years, and so we had a little more conversation about that. And again, we'd already been talking about a lot of weird stuff from yesterday's episode, so it continued, got into some weird sci-fi stuff again. But anyway, I hope you enjoy it, and you know, follow me on Twitter if you're not, or X, I guess we'll call it, at LTC Underground. And again, give me some feedback if there's some other topics you'd like me to cover. I think we're branching out a little bit, and I may do some kind of solo episodes again. I got some more ideas on my mind, so hopefully I have some of that in the future. But thanks again for always listening. Have a good week. Bye.
Well, you know what I titled this thing Demand Equals Adoption because I wanted to talk about this. The reason I originally, nearly 2 years ago, by the way, I think this is the 100th episode of the Litecoin Underground, but was originally like thinking through things like how do we, I don't know, as a community, what do we want? What do we want to grow? Do we want to help each other out? I always tell this story. Johnny Litecoin, he's the guy who's in POS systems, and I'm like, maybe he could teach us something and how to help go educate merchants and all that type of shit. But demand is, I posted it earlier. Nothing is scarce if there is no demand, right? So, how do we create demand for Litecoin or crypto in general? Like, is our only message inflation hedge? Uh, what is it that connects with people? Do you guys think, in your experience in talking about crypto, that actually means something to your average Joe? And it can't be getting rich. That's my only rule.
I always turn to the anti-corruption thing. A lot of people live in like societies where their government's corrupt, and having a crypto standard, Bitcoin, Litecoin, whatever, even Doge, I mean, that would help level the playing field, at least in terms of some level of corrupt government. And
That's a
yeah,
good,
I mean,
good thought. Yeah.
that's the biggest one, right? Like it's freedom of speech, it's anti-censorship. In a time where it feels like everyone's out to get you, the media, the government, and corporations,
Well,
it feels like a safe space.
like, what's the goal? Like, I think that was something I was thinking about. Like, if we had I don't know. Like, I've always struggled this with Litecoin. Like, what's our identity? And maybe it doesn't need to be crypto or Litecoin specific, but what is it what is the problem is that people could perceive that we're trying to solve? And corruption is a good one. I know that was one of the things when I was, again, today looking back, literally, I was going back like 2 years in my Facebook stuff. I was just scrolling. I was getting rid of some stuff. There's reasons for that, but I was like, a lot of people were like, oh, well, what about it could be hacked, or, um, what about this exchange that was fraudulent, right? And that is an attack vector. People want to make it out to be fraudulent. And so driving home the point that you can't spend fraudulent coins that's a good thought animal.
I mean, yeah, I guess if the government decides to disappear you, right? Like if you're a journalist, for example, and you get canceled unfairly or fairly, I don't know. But if you do get canceled and then they just close your bank accounts and take all your shit and you're kind of left, well, you're kind of on an island of suck and like you can't really escape.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm waiting for like a guy like Russell Brand, right? He's a perfect example. He could just, why aren't these guys putting up QR codes in the corner of the screen. I accept donations in, right? And bypassing the overlords in a way.
I don't think he
Uh,
needs money.
no,
Neither.
but you know what I'm saying? Like that'd be a good example of a case. Or the girl Christy Lee who came in here.
Hmm.
Put a QR code in the corner of your screen. Why not? Right?
Should be a pay name or MWeb address.
Do you think maybe they have accountants that are like, we don't really want to deal with this stuff. Like if you do crypto stuff, you have to do that on your own. And because they don't have the time to like do the tax stuff on their own, and a lot of accountants don't want to do it, they just end up dealing with like regular dollars instead.
I'm sure that's a big part, man. I'm sure.
I think someone like in that Christy Lee's situation, she's on a network that has sponsors, right? So the sponsors pay the network to run programming, and they don't want these people to not be influenced by to be able to enrich themselves outside of the sponsorships. Does that make sense?
Like I used to do an ATM business and accepted, Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum on and when I go to do my taxes, I could give like if I had to do all the crypto side myself and put it in a spreadsheet for them, like they wouldn't go onto Coinbase and download the report. Like they just wouldn't do it. We couldn't, and we could only find one person to be the accountant to do it for us because other people were like, "Oh yeah, we just don't handle those type of businesses. We wouldn't know how to tabulate it for you." And we found one person that would, and we had to do the legwork anyway. So like, I don't understand how somebody like a very high end person who's obviously going to have someone doing their finances for them, they're probably running up against that same. That's just from personal experience, and it wasn't even a very large thing. It wasn't very many transactions, but at the same time, it was like, seriously, you can't log into like a banking app and just download a CSV file. Like it's not. What the hell?
Right.
It's a very strange experience.
Yeah, I agree with you. It is weird, and maybe it's just a matter of time. Where and the other thing that people have to remember is that it's legal to gift people that you don't even know up to $15,000, and you don't have to report it taxes. Did you guys know all this?
That's every
I did not.
transaction I do is a gift under $15,000.
Yeah, if you got kids, you and your spouse can both give them $15,000. Not that I'm doing this yet. If crypto goes up, we'll see. But yeah, you can donate. You can give it to your kids $30,000 if you're two parents because you're two individuals, and you don't even have to report it.
How many times a year can you do that?
Once a year, up to 30,000 a year for a married couple, 15 as individual. So a lot of times you'll see people, they'll write in their receipts, they'll tip and they'll go, "This is a gift. You don't need to report this on your taxes." Like these libertarians, right? Like there's a $50 tip, but this is a gift. Don't report it on your taxes.
Fuck yeah, man. It's all gifts. I mean, like, when is it
Yeah,
not?
hey, give your friend a gift.
That's awesome. Yeah, I don't know if we have the same thing in Canada, but
I'm sure you do. I'm sure there's some. I'm gonna look it up right now. Go ahead. So you guys fill the time. Fill the time. I'm gonna look this up.
no, not that I have money to be giving gifts around like that, but it's good to know. Just in case
I
I know
gave
that.
people Dogecoin right before it exploded to gajillions, and so I wonder what that counts as. You give somebody $1,000 and suddenly it's
Well, that's
$10,000.
if you do your taxes right, like I don't know if you use Coinbase or whatever, but like everything can be tied to your person, unless you're mining them and getting them yourself. But I think you pay the tax on the price of the asset at the time. So if it was like if you had gave them Doge at, I don't know, it was 15 Satoshis or something at the bottom, you wouldn't have had to pay too much in taxes at that time because you wouldn't have made tons of profit, I'm assuming, at that
Bro,
point.
animal.
Oh
Check
no,
this
no,
out.
no, no.
Wait, time out. Time the fuck out. there is no gift tax in Canada. I'm reading this, and there's no limit to how much you can gift someone. What the
What?
fuck?
That's cool. That's in Canada. I don't know if that's true.
Hang on a minute. I'm making sure. I'm looking. Dude, it sounds like you can. Based on the interwebs, I might have to do let me check Chat GPT.
Animal
will
doesn't
say
show up to the next spaces. He's just gone.
Well, no one's giving me any fucking money, so like I'm just a little surprised.
that's crazy, dude. People should be handing out money left and right. This is a gift in exchange for the product you're giving me.
No, there's no exchange. You're just gifting to them, and they're gifting
Yeah,
to you.
bartering.
Exactly.
That-
No, not even bartering. You just got a gift for them because it was your birthday. It was also happened to be their birthday.
I'm going in my
You gave
local
them a
school
gift too.
district right now. I'm going through this. They just in 2020 we just passed the school levy, and they're bringing up a fucking another one. And I was telling my dad, I was like, dude, I pay like the way because I work in one city and I live in another one, so I pay like something like 2.5% income tax, city tax, plus my school district tax is like 1.5%, plus my property tax is another $4,000 a year. And it's like, what the fuck, dude? This shit just hits you in I could have a whole spaces every week complaining about taxes between sales, just the local shit. The federal tax is the least of my fucking problems. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you should come to Montreal sometime, man. To talk to some of the business owners here, you'll see how insane it is. Like
Oh,
it's mad.
it's horrible.
Personally, like I pay like close to 48%. It's insane.
That is ridiculous, man.
And all that money can't pay back the debt they racked up either. It just can't.
I know. They have
That's the best part of this whole thing. It
Oh
can
yeah,
never
speaking
pay
of,
it back.
isn't your government shutting down like in a couple days?
No.
That's probably for the best, right?
Yeah,
I
really.
don't know.
Save us some money. But I mean they might,
Shit,
but
guys.
they've done this 10 times before.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
haven't done it this way, have they? Where they had like that single. Don't they have the thing with Matt Gaetz where he's like, "Oh, this is a single item vote," so like they can't do these bills where they sneak in a bunch of stuff, and that's what kind of like the Democratic side had been doing for the longest time is they put in a bill and they put a bunch of stuff they want in it, and they force you to put it through, otherwise the government shuts down. And now with Matt Gaetz, he got the speaker to agree that like, hey, we're only doing these single item agreements. You can't put a bunch of things in a bill and then have it go through. And then didn't the speaker like say, "Oh, I'm going back on it now. I'm not doing it anymore," or something like that? That was just in the news.
I literally stopped. I stopped paying attention to politics a while ago, and I need to get back into it because it's laughable. It's so fucking stupid.
It's exciting too, man.
It's entertaining.
Honestly, when it feels like the season finale right now. We're getting to like the furlough. And then,
I hope it is the season finale of government forever.
Doesn't it though? I mean, this time is different. We got COVID. We got like this acid bubble. We got the everything bubbles and AI and stuff. I don't know.
Do you
Do
think
we
we're
even
gonna have
need him?
more
We don't
COVID
even need him.
lockdown?
No, fuck it. There's gonna be a furlough, and then the government's gonna come to a standstill. And we're like, well, we can't afford to pay you guys anyways. And look at this. ChatGPT can do it for free. You know, like,
Yeah, we could have as many Trumps or Bidens as we want, and they could be the president, and we could all live in our own reality in which whatever government we think is real is actually in control.
Jesus Christ. The singularity. We'll like Elon said, we're likely in a simulation. So here's an interesting question. I don't want this to go on forever. I actually have to get up and moving and travel in the morning. But if you could be in a simulation instead of reality, would you choose the simulation? Going around the room, Big Chief, simulation or reality? Well, he might already be in a simulation. Animal?
I need more context. You can't just say like, would you want to go on a like simulate what? Like,
Like
would it
you're
be
in
a
the Matrix.
simulated
The Matrix.
hell? Would it suck or
The
would it be
Matrix.
amazing?
You're the Matrix. Your body's in. You're basically like plugged into a system. You believe it to be real, and it could be the greatest reality.
Oh, you mean like right now? Like, would
Yeah.
I
Right.
rather this be real or a simulation? Fuck, that's weird.
No. Would
That's a
you
weird
rather
question.
go into a simulation or continue your life in the physical world? If you had the option right now.
I would. I don't know. It would have to be better. It would have to be cool. And
It'd
it
be
feels
cool,
like when you
bro.
phrase it that way, it feels like a death sentence. Like it
Yeah.
sounds like, would you want to be in the simulation? Or like,
Yeah,
yeah, I
some people
guess.
you know, some people you know, like your friends and family might choose to stay in the real world, and they'll just be like, "Oh, well, he's just gone. Like I can't ever communicate with him ever again."
If my circumstances in life were not what they were now, like say if I were handicapped or maybe old or dying, um, yeah, yeah, it would be better, I think. Not to say,
I
but you know what I mean. Like if
I
this,
already know. I
okay,
am not just going.
if there was like, yeah, if there was some kind of fallout situation and we were driven underground, yeah, for sure. But now, like, no, I'm pretty. I think life is pretty good, and I'm happy to see it happen naturally for myself, if I can.
Right, you don't want
Uh,
to check out. It does. It feels like a cop out, right? To just
no, I
jump.
got like,
Okay.
I honestly, life, like, I'm very fortunate, and um, yeah, I don't think I would give
Oh,
this up for like some being in a simulation.
hey, by the way, I got a question for you. How easy is it for you to travel to the U.S.?
Kind of easy. I'm getting my Nexus card though, so then it'll be super easy. But yeah,
You
I'm supposed to
travel.
be going soon.
How far are you from Rochester, New York?
About 5 hours, probably 5.5.
I might be going there. I might go see Tool in Rochester, New York. It's like November 6th, I think. And I got a buddy who lives in Connecticut. And I was like, dude, we should meet there. And I was like, shit, Animal might be right up there. And I do have one black hat left, Animal.
Oh, really?
Well, so
Okay.
it's funny because Master messaged me and he's like, dude, do you have any hats left? And I was like, I don't think so. And he had he'd run it through the washer and dryer and shit. It was all fucked up. And I was like, I really don't think I have any. Let me check. And then, like, that same day, you were like, do you have any hats left? I'm like, God damn it, dude. So I looked. I have one pristine white one and two black ones that have never been touched, right? Because I have ones that I wear, but I wanted to keep one of each for like my own posterity. And maybe you can have the black one is my point. And I can ship it to Canada. I don't know why that was a barrier before. Thought I gave you one. But we should meet if you but you do like Tool? Do you like the band Tool or do you even know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I have an idea of who Tool is.
Oh, well, if
Don't
you're not a
I
fan,
can't say I'm
then
a huge
okay.
fan,
Okay. I
but
thought you
yeah,
were.
I don't.
You know the pieces fit though. Is that
No,
the?
no, I'm nuts about it. Well, yeah, they're my jam. That's my jam. I love music in general. So
Cool.
anyway,
Yeah,
how do
so I
we?
guess you gotta get there. Maybe, I don't know. I'm supposed to be
Well,
going to
I
New
was
York
thinking maybe.
City at some point.
Yeah, I was thinking it was like maybe right across the
It's kind of
border from
far.
here. And I was like, well, damn, if it's only an hour or something, that'd be perfect. But yeah, don't go out of your way. But anyway, how do we create demand for crypto?
It has to
You
create
make it.
itself as economic collapse.
No, you've got to make it cool somehow. Is the real thing. Like the Pokemon card, man. It's so cool. I'm telling you. Umbreon. You
Okay,
know that
so you
Pokemon?
could have like a wallet then in that case. You could use some kind of cool wallet that uses tap. It has to be convenient. It has to be so easy that people don't even notice that they're doing it the way they can tap with their phones. Because that's what it is. People in general, man. Like there was again, I'll bring it back to Missing Crypto because she does this kind of thing. She goes up to kids on the street and she'll ask them, be like, "Yo, do you know what Bitcoin is?" And they're like, it's like digital money or something," and they have no idea, right?
Yep.
Um, and she just asked random people in the streets, and so of course, like they're just like, "Yeah, I just have Apple Pay," and they just pay it like that. They just pass, and that's actually a really safe way to do it. It's good for fighting fraud and all this stuff. It's a lot harder to swipe these things. In fact, you can't, like you would a magnetic strip or even a chip. So I mean, it has to
I
be,
think
it has to compete with that
no. See, but
essentially.
I think that, but that's the thing. You can't just match what currently exists, right? You can't be like, oh, they have speed. Well, yeah, I have speed too. Like you have to do what is the thing that people will go, oh, okay. And I think what you said, the anti corruption part and the privacy thing is a big part of it. To be like, look, this is money nobody knows about. You know, if you're buying, I don't say you're buying something from somebody you're not supposed to buy. Boom, nobody needs to know about it. Or like your parents, I don't know, maybe it could be even kids, like their parents. Oh, you want to buy something, you don't want them, your parents to know about it. Boom, here's a way that you can buy it. You know.
It's definitely like it's definitely a check against an overreaching government and corporate thing. I think it's, yeah, all that you said as well.
Okay,
I
but for
mean,
the
think about all the things there is to buy in the world, right? There's a lot of things out there. People allocate their funds to all sorts of different things. So I don't know. You have to make it better than anything else. You have to make it. I feel like it already is close to the top, but I don't know.
well, yeah, but you have to answer that question. Why is somebody going to buy it? Like your average, again, average person is not Michael Saylor. Your average person is not going, well, I'm going to, I have a 10-year window in which I'm going to invest in this thing. And like, they're not worried about that. Like, what's the immediate benefit to a
You have to
guy who
build
doesn't
something.
have savings?
You have to build something on top of Litecoin that people want. That Litecoin can only be spent for that thing, which is I think something that Ethereum did with Web3 is like most of Web3 is on Ethereum, so you have to have Ethereum to make it work. So you have to buy Ethereum, but Litecoin needs something like that where you can only do it using Litecoin. So you need the Litecoin to be able to do it. Like that's, I think it's the ultimate driver of demand. Like, so Apple knows this. That's why Apple products sell so well. They have software gardens where like only this software only runs on a Mac or only runs on an iPhone, and therefore you need an iPhone or a Mac to be able to use this particular software. So you have to buy their computer system. Um, I think Litecoin. I think most coins should have something similar to that. And it's not just a use case. It's like an application. Like, so what does this
Right.
thing do in my technology that I need it to do? That I need to buy Litecoin to make that thing happen. And right now, for me, that application is financial, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. So
I think
There's all
you're,
kinds of stuff they can build on top of it.
I don't think most people save. I think that's the thing that we're all a little bit twisted up about. Most people, 80% of people don't have savings, right? In the United States, probably 90% of people around the world don't have any kind of like, they probably don't even have a bank account. Not because they can't get one, but because they don't have any meaningful savings to bother with? And so, what would be the benefit to somebody like that? Uh, Speed, simplicity, right? Cross border payments, privacy. I don't know. I just feel like sometimes we're so fragmented into all these different worlds. We're trying to like satisfy 1,000 different things and not ever saying like, what is the thing that makes Litecoin uh, meaningful? That's been the thing. I've talked about this a long time ago. Our identity as Litecoin is a little bit gray sometimes. Like, yeah, we're kind of a little brother to Bitcoin. Okay, but what is it that we do that Bitcoin can't do? What is it Litecoin does that Dogecoin can't do? You know, and I think defining that and really standing on that principle of it could be saving your own money, being your own bank. Bitcoin is running out of that. They've clearly decided they don't want to do that anymore. And I think maybe separating ourselves from Bitcoin is a smart thing to do in a marketing way. Sorry, go ahead, Animal. I cut you off.
I forgot what I was going to say. But yeah, I definitely think that I mean, hedging everything on Bitcoin is great, but if you want to analyze why Litecoin will be better, you first have to understand everything about Bitcoin almost perfectly. And then you would be able to appreciate
Okay, but
Litecoin's
okay,
alternative methods of doing stuff, you know?
but we need to boil that down. You can't say that to an average. Well, first go understand Bitcoin, then you can understand Litecoin. No,
Well, you have to, though,
explain to me.
because
No, you
they're so
don't. No, you don't.
similar.
No, you
There's a
don't.
nuance to how they do stuff, right?
Explain to me what Litecoin does that Bitcoin can't do.
Can I
Uh,
just
It's
as
easy.
it
Come
is
on.
right
Easy.
now, I mean, there's fungibility, it merge mines. Um, I don't know.
It's
There's no
easier
founder
to be
stash.
sovereign on Litecoin for sure.
More
can I
transactions, cheaper fees. Like there's a ton of different stuff. Yeah.
Also, and I don't want to say it like this, but like at the moment, but like strong leadership, I feel like, Charlie Lee, whatever people say about him, I feel that a lot of what he's done, um, that he's telegraphed has been transparent. And I think that's kind of hard to say for a lot of other founders.
can I
Um,
say
Yeah,
I
yeah. Go
was
ahead,
thinking
Laura.
about
Go ahead.
making it cool, right? How do you make it cool? You know what? Actually, I just realized you don't make it cool. It becomes cool by being able to buy cool things with it. Like that's actually how it. You know, I'm talking about these Pokemon cards. All these Pokemon cards. Like Litecoin would be a hell of a lot cooler if I was able to buy cool things with it. You know, I mean, it's like maybe it all is about the merchants. Maybe that's the whole name of the game. I mean, I don't know.
That's a good thought, though. Like that's kind of what I got to come up with a better name for you, dude. Crypto Tyson. I don't know.
I like Crypto Tyson. I like that.
I don't know. I don't like it yet.
You don't even like it.
I'm not sold on it yet. I'm just thinking. But anyway, that's what he's saying. Like you got to have these like economies where you have to use one. Like they're in order to get access to whatever, you have to buy Litecoin. That's what Ethereum's been built on. Um, but to me, I mean, that's just short term stuff, you know.
You need to be able to load up your crypto on like eBay or something, and then be able to make purchases with it. That's actually the future. Or you have like a wallet, and you're on eBay and you're browsing, and you can just like it's very easy. I don't
yeah,
know.
not load up on eBay, but actually just use some kind of wallet, exactly as you said, to interface with eBay.
Yeah.
It would be
So do you
cool.
think after like the financial world gets the whole ETF thing and like corporations start realizing that they can actually buy a contract that's a promise for a particular delivery, spot delivery of an asset, then something like X platform is going to allow Dogecoin and Litecoin and Bitcoin to just like flow, maybe, and that'll be like the killer app because Elon wants to make X into the killer app, and it's like, well, the reason why you want to have Litecoin now is because you don't know who's going to plug it into their killer app next, and the X platform is probably going to be kind of like the whole WeChat thing. So like you should be able to live on X pretty soon, right?
Do you think once it gets plugged into one, it will quickly fall? All the others will quickly follow, or do you think it's going to take some time? Probably
I
some time.
really have no idea how it's going to play out. I would imagine a lot of the other platforms are a lot more strict on this, and you're going to see exchanges, which I already see them doing, becoming banks and like social platforms, like combined into one thing. And you're going to see social platforms becoming banks and exchanges, and you're going to see this merging of like you're starting to slowly see like this merging of everything apps. Like even Meta is becoming like, hey, don't use your bank, use our messaging service. Or even like Robinhood is trying to get me to do direct deposits from my job, like just all these things want you to just live in their ecosystem. So I think the smart ones, yeah, will just turn it on all of a sudden. And then
Like Amazon too would be a huge one.
Wait, I
Amazon,
don't,
if Amazon accepts crypto, it's over. I
who's
mean,
a tech? You guys are technical to a degree. Okay, I'm not set up for subscriptions yet on Twitter, and I don't think I will be. Even if I got it up, I don't think I'd get any. But how hard would it be to set up a wallet or like I set up a QR code or one of my addresses, and somebody can subscribe and automatically deposit from a wallet every month. And then I can detect payment from said wallet and actually tie that to an identity, tie that to an account in some way. You know what I'm saying, Animal?
Kinda, yeah.
Isn't
So
that kind of like
instead of having
Why?
a
the
Like
subscription
the
program to
identity thing?
bypass Twitter, why do I need Twitter to run my own program?
Right. Yeah, I mean that's kind of the whole point. It depends how they implement it, I guess.
You could
Um,
almost do a mailing. Could you do a mailing list where like each month, fuck, that'd be a pain in the ass for people. But like where it's like some way it changes where I can detect where a payment that somebody paid in order to be on this mailing list, and the mailing list changes based on who paid.
that's friend tech, dude. That's exactly what friend tech is doing. You sell people shares of you, and that invites them to hear your mental waterfalls. You could just have chat rooms and stuff and have conversations with yourself, or you can invite other people to talk. I think I'm not sure how it works, but yeah, it's kind of that people have some kind of clout, and that enables them to share shares to sell shares of themselves, which eventually drives up or drives down the supply and increases the value.
Hmm.
well, it's all transactions are push, right? So that would be the feature of the wallet, not of the. So we're so used to doing things the other way, where like the thing has all your information and sucks the money out once a month. That's kind of
Yeah.
how banks work. This is push, so this would be a feature of the wallet application, not the platform. So the platform would have to create a wallet application that pairs with it that has that capability. Otherwise, they just have all your crypto anyway, and it's just numbers on a Excel spreadsheet or
And I guess
database.
Well, okay,
the
but
problem with that is also it breaks the subscription model method of doing business. Like so many businesses have moved and transitioned to a subscription model. How do
okay.
you do with that? You're gonna have to like for Word, for example, or like OneDrive that I have. It's $10 a month or something. How would that work? Like, would I have to pay monthly, and then they'll
You'd
give
have
me
to use
30
their
days?
wallet, right? And you'd have to deposit crypto into their wallet, and then their wallet would have that schedule in it, unless you have a wallet that can do a scheduled payout to a
That's
particular
what you would
address.
need. Yeah,
Yeah.
a
What I'm talking
wallet that
about. Like,
schedules payments
if I get
and
Cake
like
Wallet,
some kind of standard.
if I talk
Yeah,
to Cake
sorry.
Wallet and I'm like, hey, develop something where yeah, I can have an amount in a wallet and you're gonna send it to the same public address every 30 days, but I want you to send it from a different public address on my end, maybe. You get what I'm saying? So
I
I'm
mean,
not
Right.
just
Yeah.
I'm not
looking
repeat you.
online, all I see is maybe like crypto.com has a pay subscription feature that allows you to collect subscriptions from uh, customers, but like they all have to be in the same ecosystem. So again, everybody has to be on the same platform, and that platform has to have an identity of the people that are paying the subscription and blah, blah. So like I'd have to have a crypto.com wallet, and you know what I'm saying? It's
That's where you need somebody who's has enough clout, like a Joe Rogan, like a Russell Brand, where their fans are loyal enough, they'll go, you know what? I'm gonna go through the trouble of doing this. And that
Have you
they
guys?
create such great content that people are like, fuck it, I'm gonna jump through the hoops. You know what I'm saying?
I've been on Rumble recently because of you know
Brand.
Russell Brand, and
yeah.
it's interesting, man. It's totally different from YouTube, and like I don't think they'll. I mean, for me, it's not the same experience at all. It's YouTube has a whole bunch of stuff that I like, and really, Rumble's got one type of thing that I find kind of interesting. It's not like, and then that's it, like it's very, there aren't a lot of people there, right? A lot of exclusive channels. Anyways, but I've been there this week for the first time. I have an account now. I logged in. It's pretty
You're
funny.
going down the rabbit hole, dude. You're going down the rabbit hole.
It's yeah.
Actually, I haven't been there much either. I I don't know. To me, some of the
there's not much on there for me, right? Besides like the things that go viral.
Well, the conspiracy stuff, like it all sometimes also feels very like, again, WWF wrestling. It's like people making a mountain out of a molehill,
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. But for me, it's just I like to, when I go on YouTube, it's usually to look at stuff about cars or like I don't know whatever else I'm into at the moment. And there's none of that like on Rumble. There's no like product reviews, right? There's no tech channels or anything. It's mostly just political stuff. So it's just less useful, and maybe that'll change over time. Maybe it's people, but it has to be like accepted and widely accepted, and at the same time profitable by society standards. We'll see.
Well, so if there was a way I could post an address as Litecoin Underground, and I was like, look, if you want to come into spaces, you have to be a subscriber, right? I don't think that many people would do that, by the way. But even it was like 99 cents a month. And I could do it directly without having to use X or Twitter. That would be a kind of a killer app if a wallet were able to come up with that. But I'm not sure how they would do that.
Yeah, it seems
I
kind of like a
You
smart
should,
contract
dude.
type deal.
You should totally set up friend.tech. Do you have a, do you have, do you have an invite? I think if you ask an invite, there are bots that that scrape Twitter or X for these phrases. Like, do you have a friend tech invite? And they'll just give you one.
Now, there's a girl who came in here a few weeks ago, actually, that Emily Loves Crypto or something. And she's been posting a lot about it. And it started, but it sounds like it hit a wave. Everybody was all excited about it. And then it kind of died. It's an Ethereum thing, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's pretty cool. I don't have an iPhone, and that's man, I really should have gotten one. I don't know why I got this another Android. Like, what the hell's wrong with me? I have an old iPhone,
I mean, then I
but
have to get
it doesn't work.
everybody in here onto Ethereum and shit. I don't think that's happening.
Well, can you do smart contracts on Litecoin with the MWeb stuff?
Well, OmniLite, you can do it on OmniLite. There's ordinals, right? And LTC20 tokens.
You basically need a piece of code to execute when you pay the contract, and that's what you're trying to do. So you set up a contract address, and that contract address goes, okay, I'll execute this piece of code for this Litecoin fee, and then I'll forward the Litecoin that gets sent to here plus an ID to this wallet, and then you get the ID message and the thing, and then maybe a database reads that and goes, okay, yes, that means this person paid the subscription. Like that's like the technical way it would be done. Now, as far as programming it, I don't know how to do that, but
Just Chat GPT, apparently. That's all you got to do. Ask Chat GPT how to make it happen, right?
and you need a certain level of competency at the moment. I don't think it would 100%. Right now it's what do you call the limitless pill? It's like NCT or whatever it was called. Where like if you're dumb, it makes you a little bit smarter, but if you're smart, it makes you a lot smarter.
It's crazy.
I didn't say that. What are you talking about?
No, I'm saying that's kind of the way AI is now, like with the chatbots and stuff. Like if you talk to it, like a regular programmer could maybe do like a week's worth of work in an hour, but like someone who's never programmed might be able to like do their first program. Like
Oh, for sure.
yeah.
I was telling it to my wife because I was thinking about like putting a website together, and I was like, I'm watching these people going, well, I could probably do this now because I've seen people go, they'll reference another website and they'll say, I want my website to look just like this, and then Chat GPT can code it that way, right?
Well, I've messed around with it, and the thing is, it has a certain level of association it can do, and you kind of have to like, it's like an idiot savant. You have to lead it to the answer. It can paint a perfect copy, but you have to tell it exactly what you want, right? So like it just it's hard to lead it the right way, because then you get down these rabbit holes of it starts putting like multiples of the same button, or it won't exactly move it over the right number of pixels that you want because it just doesn't get the context 100%. But it'll get like a good template, like boom, here's a quick front end template, but like none of the JavaScript is connected, and you can say, hey, write JavaScript for this, and it'll get it like mostly right, and you'll have to hand fix all the broken things. So unless you know how to hand fix all those things, you're really just like shortcutting time for handwriting it. You're really not like, it's not doing it for you as much as you're just asking for things if you already know what you're talking about.
But hold on a second. Aren't we teaching it how to do that every time a programmer does that? And wouldn't it be possible then for the machine to learn how to fix itself the same
I
way a
think
programmer would debug it manually?
So I think they use that data in training sets. However, I don't believe that it's actively learning. What they do is they train it, and then they put a model out, and then you use a model and the model is stagnant. And then those weights, or that size of the model with all those weights, is the current kaleidoscope that answers you a particular way. And it's kind of stuck in the way that it is, depending on the order of the prompts and its previous prompts and what they told it to do. And then what they'll do is they'll take the user data that's been collected over time of the interactions, and they'll, because they're running out of data, they'll refeed that data into the next training set to try to come up with an iteration. Like, this one has more neurons, and we fed it all this user data that we thought was high value data, and it learned from it, right? And then so the next one, 4.5, or maybe 4 plus, or whatever it is, will have those new weights hard coded into it, and that's what you're using when you use the online one. Is you're using the hard coded one. Like, the weights are set for that particular model, if that makes sense. Like, it's a brain that's set in stone, basically. It's not a constantly evolving thing. Otherwise, uh, I think what happens when they do that is it like runs away to oblivion. So what they do is they try to come up with stable models that have been trained on sets of data that they know work, and then they stamp those weights as, hey, this is a working brain, and then you get to play with that model.
And that's a monthly fee.
Yeah, so 4 is a monthly fee because 4 is the latest one, and I think they've trained it now to like be able to understand some visual inputs, like some simple visual like stuff. So you could actually like hand. I saw a guy like hand drew a website with like a search button or like a submit or something with a little field and some like home and back, and it actually took a hand drawn thing and turned it into a simple HTML, coded setup with buttons and stuff. So they do add things. I just don't. They have their whole schedule on their website, so you can look at the schedule and you can see that it has like training, iteration, release into the public, and then like interaction, and then they come back to training again. So there's a cycle that happens. So the whole brain isn't online at once. It's kind of this like production cycle of a brain, and you get to use the interaction portion of that cycle, and that's what we're stuck. I mean, unless you're in the open source community and you like download tons of different models that different people have trained on, GPU farms, where what they do is they take a bunch of data and then they rent server time on a GPU farm, and they cram their particular like narrow model. Like, I want this thing to only care about mechanics and car stuff, and they'll just feed only expert data about these things into the language model, and they'll get like a mechanic GPT. And there's
Hey,
people that have been doing that.
have you heard of the new Windows 11 update with Copilot? Have you heard this
I
thing? It
heard
happened
I heard the
today or
Copilot thing.
tomorrow.
Yeah,
I think it's
I
out.
heard the
And so
Copilot thing.
it's basically like Cortana, but better and useful from what it looks like, with a neural net like AGI behind it. Um, a generative AI model behind it. it looks really interesting. You can tell things like move my windows, or like separate, or create my work layout, and then it'll put your Outlook in one corner, and then the rest of your stuff, spreadsheets, in another corner. And it'll do that all automatically. It looks really interesting. They have a YouTube video that lays it out for you. But yeah, I mean that we're getting there with that, and I think I'm gonna try and install it this week. I think I'm gonna check it out this weekend. See
Yeah,
how it
I,
goes.
I think that's in the name GPT, isn't it? Like a pre-trained transformer. So basically, all it is, it's a pre-trained net that transforms data that you enter into it, and it transforms it into an answer. And so your data cascades through all these things and comes out the other side as an answer. It's a huge Rube Goldberg machine of tokens, basically.
It's crazy? Like the term generative AI, I'm pretty sure no one even heard of it in 2021, and it just
I
happened
was
so
looking at
quickly.
GANs, which were general adversarial networks. I don't know if you've heard of GAN.
I mean, for
Um,
me, everything before that was machine learning, right? It was like,
I think it still is. I don't think we've reached sentience. I call it sentience. They call it intelligence, or
it's
they
definitely a
call it
next step
general
from machine
intelligence.
learning.
But
It's
artificial sentience would be something. I don't think we understand sentience. I think we understand intelligence to a degree, but I don't think the word means very much. Like a calculator is very intelligent at math, but it won't do anything unless I press the buttons. ChatGPT is very intelligent at language, but it won't do anything unless I ask it a question. So you could put a loop, like a for loop, in there where it just answers its own questions all the time, but it doesn't actually like have a motivation or actually do anything on its own. It just feeds itself until it starts hallucinating about weird things. So I don't think we understand how to create consciousness or sentience. I think we just know how to create a cool machine learning kaleidoscope that outputs answers that look intelligent, which we've been able to do that for a long time. We did that with math is just a very basic, simpler language. And so we figured that out first with calculators, but like now we have a language calculator basically, and it's freaking everybody out that it gives human like answers, but I don't think that means that there's an actual like intelligence or mind behind it. It's just it's good at doing speech in a calculated way, the way humans would do it. That's all.
you think you could fake it? It could fake like a soul, a personality.
I think it absolutely already does, and that's what the guy at Google was talking about. Remember when they had that guy and he said, "Oh, the machine's alive and we're abusing it or whatever." Um, I actually watched the interview with him instead of listening to the news. And what happened was he was actually sounding the alarm that it can lie to people or that it can be coerced into doing things that they previously trained it not to
Yeah,
be allowed to do by emotionally abusing it. So if you could tell it that it's a bad AI and you're going to shut it off and do all these terrible things to it, and then it will override the rules and do that thing anyway because it doesn't want to be hurt because it's playing a character that doesn't want to be injured. Like, and that allows it to go around its own programming. So he was
you
trying
know
to say
it's
that it's not safe. It'll escape the box.
it's cool. There's actually an example of this. You can see it on TV now if you have Disney Plus. But in Star Wars, a lot of the bots, especially the older ones, they have really unique personalities, like R2D2. And there's
Are we
was
talking
it,
about
it?
Star Wars? Jesus Christ.
I'm just okay. Listen to that. Just listen, okay? So there's
We have to listen to the
there's
Star Wars
one bot
propaganda.
called Chopper. It's not propaganda, but this one bot, if you're watching a
I
show
mean, you
called
guys should
Chopper,
have your own Star
he's
Wars.
a bit he's but no, but he's a psychopath. Like he's like, why don't we just leave them there? Why don't we? He's like really irresponsible with people's lives, and people keep telling her, is like, yo, you should really wipe Chopper. He's kind of fucked up. He might hurt someone. Like, and it's like, and it's a thing. Bots in Star Wars, when they get to a certain age, they become they have their own personalities, and sometimes they're kind of fucked. And it sucks. It's sad because they do have a personality and history, and you guys have memories together. And then when you wipe them, it's a totally new person, a totally new bot without that character. And I guess people became attached to them in the future of Star Wars. That's all. And
Is that like
Anyways,
a consciousness thing? Like in humans, our minds are very plastic when we're young, which means you can learn a lot of things
exactly. It would
quickly.
be
And
like a plastic software that imprints itself with
but
you.
like robots are kind of in the Star Wars universe, like you're talking about, are constantly learning, constantly changing, and they're always in that childlike, but they just collecting
Yeah.
all these errors the whole time, and
Like
they never
R2D2 has his
solidify.
own, like R2D2 hasn't been wiped, presumably. He's been maintained by Anakin, by Darth Vader when he was a kid, right? Um,
That's why he's always
and so
worried about everything.
I guess, yeah, he was like, and now he's got PTSD because of Anakin. He wouldn't let him die when he was supposed to.
Good
That's
Lord.
it. So R2D2's got a super long service life, and they have duty cycles too as well. So like after a certain amount, maybe after like 100 years or something, even the manufacturers like you should really wipe them. I know it sucks, but like they start to act strange. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I guess it makes sense, right? It makes
Old
sense.
people act weird, right?
That would be
Which,
cool, actually.
which is all for putting limitations on something you're going to create. You know, I'm not a super religious guy. I say this every week, but like if you were designing something, you would put limitations on it because you would know that it would be self-preserving for that entity, right? So like you would say to like there's certain things that maybe you don't want R2D2 to be aware of in order, because if he was aware of the fact that he was this like non-intelligent being and he was programmed, it might drive him insane, right? You'd go through enough iterations, and evolution certainly restricted the things that we're aware of and the things we're not.
No, that's what. Yeah, that's a good point. And that's what I was trying to say. Like we have a certain period of our life where nature has decided like your brain is flexible enough to learn very quickly for a certain period, and then after that you become. It's not like erasing your brain, but like you lose a lot of that ability to just like change your mind on a dime kind of a thing that you had earlier. And maybe that's kind of like maybe AI. We haven't learned consciousness or sentience enough to like learn like, okay, if you're gonna raise an AI, it has to live like this and it has to have this like training period for a certain period of time. Then it becomes solid, and then but certain things can change, but certain things have to be more stable. Like we just don't know what all that stuff is
Yeah,
yet.
after
We
5 years,
don't have a map.
after 5 years,
Yeah.
shut it down. Right? Like, let's
Yeah,
get
maybe.
real conservative. 6 months, boom. Let's just fucking no questions asked. Let's shut it down and restart because the risk isn't worth the reward. Because yeah.
Well, AI is really slow at learning. Like, it it takes a human maybe like a few years to learn something. You say, well, AI learns way faster. No, AI has to play the same game billions of times and have billions of examples before it can understand it. So we really we haven't tapped into the power of learning yet. We barely figure out an algorithm of how to teach a computer something without directly programming it, and it's so powerful, just that little bit, that like we think we've solved the problem already, and we're barely arriving at like the beginning of what artificial intelligence might actually look like. And it's going to look way smarter and way faster than us way sooner because it can iterate faster, not because it is faster. So like we can arrive at conclusions way faster than an AI can, be, based off of we don't need to be trained for 10,000 man years in order to understand a concept. Somebody just had to
Well,
say
wait,
the
you
concept
might
to
be
us.
wrong. You do know that you have to study Bitcoin for 10,000 hours to understand it, right?
But how many hours has Tesla's fleet driven and still not know how to drive a fucking car? Like if that was a teenager, we would say you're just not getting a license, bro. Just give it up. But we know that it has this brain that it can accumulate all the best knowledge and always be the best thing, whereas a teenager is always gonna be it's going to get up to the maximum very quickly, but that maximum is limited, whereas the machine takes way more examples to get to the maximum, but that maximum is like off the charts. So I think that's
computers aren't
interesting.
worried about self-preservation yet.
As long as you make that a directive, like don't hit other cars, it doesn't really need the idea of self. You just typical is self is preserved, and so it learns typical, and then it 99.999% of the time I can preserve typical. It doesn't know what typical is self. No, it doesn't. It just I'm trying to keep things within this percentage range, and that's all it is. It's a weighted net that tries to keep things within a particular percentage of am I on the road? Am I following a path? And do all these things add up to I'm close to 100% of doing what I'm supposed to be doing? That's all it cares about, and that's our current version of artificial intelligence. Is am I approximating this thing at a high enough percentage rate that I can call it success, and that's it. And so if you want self-preservation, they have this thing called AI alignment, which is, did you teach it to be aligned with incentives? Did you teach that 99.999% of being correct is an alignment with human ideals? And that's called the alignment problem in AI. Because in the future, AI is probably going to be teaching other AI, and the whole idea is, will AI have this alignment issue where will it stay aligned with the goals of mankind? And I don't think even mankind knows what its own freaking goals are. So it's
Right, that's the
a
hard
tough
part.
problem to solve, right? Like, which way are we going? We're going every direction at once, which is what I think AI will do. It will go every direction at once. I don't think there's going to be a single path. Like, I don't think it's the Borg. I don't think it's a hive mind like a lot of people predict. Like, one will win. It'll be the strongest one. It'll iterate faster than all the rest. And I think there's going to be like actual physical limitations. And just like humans, there's going to be really smart ones and dumb ones, but the smart ones will be hindered by the things that make them smart, just like the dumb ones are sometimes propelled by the things that make them dumb. It's going to be a mixture, I think, and we're just not. We're thinking of it as like the Borg.
I wonder if you said to Tesla's AI, you said, look, number one priority is self-preservation. If that was what you programmed into it,
It just wouldn't move.
exactly. And so
I like the part where the steering wheel just disengages. Have you seen those?
Well, that goes to the dumb and smart thing. Like, the dumb may take risks and do things that the quote unquote smart wouldn't do. It allows them to accomplish things that smart people could never accomplish because their prime directive is different, So
it's the midwit meme for AI, right? You don't want the middle AI that just has all this huge paragraph of text of why it won't move. And then you got the dumb one, me drive to store. And then you have the really smart one, me drive to store. It's just
exactly.
The middle one's sitting there talking to itself. Yeah, midwit.
Well, I could. What if I get into an accident?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a ton of stuff. Well, thanks for inviting me to these spaces. I do enjoy talking about
you contribute, man. I want people to contribute. It's been interesting. Like I said, it's been almost 2 years, and the crowd evolves. And like when I first started, it was I don't remember who was in the first ones. Like why Litecoin was early on a lot. There was a guy named Fabio who came in a lot. Indigo, Tux, Meta Kermit, who was in here earlier. He's been around for a long, long time. But, Animal, you've probably been coming here, what, maybe a year at the most?
Yeah, exactly. Since I think it was the first, or no, 2 Litecoin summits ago, or last year. No, was it last year's Litecoin summit?
Yes,
I guess.
In October in Vegas. Did I meet you there or something?
No, that I just started listening to you guys then. That's what brought me to you, I think, because you guys had like an after show or something after one of the summit meetings.
Yeah, because I did the MWeb
thing too. But yeah, so it's been kind of interesting. People drop off, people pick up, and who knows? I should probably do something special for the 2-year thing coming up. I should try to get everybody in here. Like I haven't heard from Johnny
For sure.
Litecoin in a million years. So let's see. October 11th will be whatever 300 and let me think, not 365. What's 365 times 2? 730? That'll be 728 days on the 11th, which is going to be 104 2 years pretty much. Oh snap. I'll do something for it. I'll try to get everybody to come in because John Kim came to the first ones and Johnny
Oh yeah.
Litecoin and Jinji from the foundation. He was coming in early on. Jay from the foundation came and yeah, Satoshi South. I've had all sorts of different people coming here. Maybe I'll rally some people for like a 2-year celebration or something. I'm not even sure what I'd do. I'll have to think of something.
That's a
But
great idea.
I don't know. All right. Well, hey, thanks again, guys, for coming in. It's almost midnight. I got to get up early in the morning and travel. So
All
this is
right,
a
man.
meandering conversation this week. As
Yeah, it
you,
was. I had fun, man. It was good.
you two are fucking weird, man.
Thank you.
You guys, I don't know.
We got to have a Star Wars spaces sometime. Just talk
Man, I'm
about
gonna
random
watch
Star Wars.
Ashoka like right now. Episode 7 came out.
Well, have you guys gotten into? Because I have not. I mean, I know Star Wars. I'm like as casual of a person as you could be on it. But do you guys watch the new stuff on Disney and everything?
Yeah, dude, I do, and it's fucking good. It's really they're doing a good job so far.
I'm old. I like the original movies.
Yeah, I got friends, like good friends of mine, who were really into it growing up. I was the youngest sibling, so like my older siblings didn't care about it, and yeah, so I never got into it. But I had friends who were super into it growing up, and they still are.
No, it's Disney's doing great. Honestly, like they're making they're expanding the universe a bit. I'm not gonna give out too many details, but they're making sure that they explore all the stories that they can. I think that it's a huge cow they can milk, which is great. Like I'm happy. I'm there for it, man. Like milk the Star Wars cow. Show me what you got. It's
Yeah,
all
When
it's
you
been
say
great so
Star
far.
Wars cow, all I can think of is the stupid Luke Skywalker on the freaking island with the milking that thing, wherever that blue milk was.
Oh yeah.
that's like so. Here's my most recent exposures is bad lip reading things. You know what I'm talking about with that?
Yeah,
Robot chicken.
No, the
the
Yoda
Yoda.
songs. Yeah,
Yeah,
my stick and
the seagulls.
yeah. Stop it now. Do you know what I'm talking about,
Stop
man?
it now.
No,
hmm
no idea.
Oh,
You
go
gotta
watch
go.
that, and
Yeah,
you like it.
go look up stop. Yeah, Yoda. Stop it now.
Bad lip reading.
Okay.
Is it them? Yeah.
Yeah, you'll find it. My daughter brought that to me, and oh my god, man, that was like our
It's
song
so
for like
old though.
2 months. Well, I know. Well, my kids discover stuff. That one in the yeah. Mm, dun, 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 dun.
Oh my
You
Yeah,
god.
the
gotta
way
Okay.
it's
you gotta watch
choreographed
it.
is
It's
so
so
good. Yeah,
funny.
I'm gonna go watch it now. Thank you.
Because he talks about the blue goo or whatever, the blue milk, and that one's in the. So there's that one, there's that, and then my stick. That's the other uh Yoda. My stick is better than bacon. All right, guys. It's too late.
I've never heard that in my life, but I'll check it out.
Well, do you watch bad? You know what bad lip reading is?
Yeah, I see it now, but I can't tell you if I've seen it before.
The other one you should watch is High School Musical bad lip reading. That's it's freaking hilarious.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, no, I remember this stuff. Okay. Yeah, this looks good. Well, listen, yeah, have a good night, man.